My name is Ethan Caldwell. I'm 30 years old, and 5 years ago, I walked out of law school believing I had everything I needed for a meaningful future. A degree in my hand and the woman I loved, Laura Vance, by my side. We married in a modest ceremony in Denver, Colorado. Nothing extravagant, just close friends, family, and promises we thought we would keep forever. Laura was everything I had imagined in a life partner. Beautiful, sharp-minded, and at the time, seemingly devoted to the journey we were embarking on together. But 2020 was a brutal year to begin a legal career, and the reality of the profession was far from the polished image people see on television. I accepted a low-paying position at a small downtown firm, earning $32,000 a year handling traffic tickets and petty civil disputes, while Laura worked as a marketing coordinator, making $38,000. We survived in a cramped one-bedroom apartment that drained $1,600 every month, driving a used Honda Civic I purchased during law school. For the first few years, she reassured me that our struggles were temporary, often telling me we were building our future brick by brick. And I believe her every time I stayed late preparing case files or studying for bar, convinced that perseverance would eventually pay off. But as bills piled up and tangible progress remained out of reach, something in her shifted. Around our fourth year, little comments began to slip through, questions about why I couldn't secure a better-paying job, subtle comparisons to acquaintances like the Hendersons, who had just bought a new car on a salesman's salary without a degree. I tried to explain the reality of law, how it demands endurance, slow progress, years of groundwork before success shows its face. But patience was no longer a language she understood. By our 5th anniversary, every overdue notice, every rejected car transaction, every cheap dinner of instant noodles seemed to fuel her resentment. One evening, with no argument leading up to it, she simply said, "I'm tired of living like college students," while we sat on a worn-out couch watching Netflix on my laptop, because cable was a luxury we couldn't afford. I reminded her that I was trying, mentioning the Henderson case I hoped would bring in a settlement, but she only laughed bitterly and asked if that meant we could finally afford name-brand cereal. "I don't want to be poor anymore, Ethan," she said, and that word, poor, hung between us like a verdict. 3 weeks later, on a quiet Thursday morning, she handed me a manila envelope while I sipped coffee from a chipped mug. I didn't need to open it to know. "Divorce papers," she said flatly. She had already signed them. I stared at the documents, recognizing every legal phrase, yet feeling utterly powerless. No alimony. Minimal assets to divide, just a clean cut from the life we had built. She said she wanted a better life, that I was dead weight, that she couldn't keep waiting for me to become something more. I asked if there was someone else. Her silence answered me long before her words tried to deny it. Later, I discovered the truth on our shared phone records, a number called over 60 times in a month. Bradley Morrison, a wealthy financial advisor, his face polished on LinkedIn beside a silver BMW. The book clubs, the new clothes, the change in her hair, all suddenly made horrifying sense. That night, I laid the divorce papers on the kitchen table and waited. When she returned, I asked calmly about him. She froze, color draining from her face. I told her I knew. Phone records don't lie. "We're just friends," she insisted weakly. But friends don't pay $2,000 retainers to Morrison and Associates for someone else's divorce. "Bradley understands what I'm going through," she said, her voice gaining a strange confidence as she settled deeper into the lie. "He went through a difficult divorce 2 years ago. He's just being supportive." Supportive? I repeated slowly, testing the word on my tongue like something sour. "Is that what we're calling it now?" "Nothing physical has happened," she blurted. Too quickly, her tone climbing just high enough to betray her. "But you wanted it to, didn't you?" I said, not as a question, but as a fact she could no longer hide from. She didn't deny it. I stood from the table without another word and walked to our bedroom, opening my dresser drawer to retrieve a small, worn slip of paper, a lottery ticket. The same numbers I played every week for 3 years, 07, 14, 21, 03, 42, Powerball 18. Lara's birthday in July. My birthday in February. The day we were married, June 21st. The day I graduated law school, May 3rd. The 42 days it took to get my bar results. and the number of our first apartment. You know what's funny? I called out, my voice echoing down the hallway. What? She answered cautiously from the kitchen. I've been playing these numbers since we got married. Every week. $52 a year. Money you always said we couldn't afford to waste. I walked back, holding the ticket between my fingers like a relic of blind faith. I told myself it was an investment in our future. Our future, Laura. I believed someday maybe we'd get lucky. Maybe we'd finally afford the life you kept dreaming about. She stared at the ticket, then at me, her lips parting with some half-formed apology. Ethan, but you don't want someday, do you? I cut in. You want it now, with someone who already has it. I reached for the cheap ballpoint pen from the table, one of those bulk packs from Walmart we bought when budgeting felt like teamwork. You were right about one thing, I said, clicking it. I am a deadweight, at least to you. I signed my name on the divorce papers. Each stroke of ink felt like sealing a coffin on a life I thought we were building. The only sounds were the rustle of paper and the soft hum of our old refrigerator, filling the void where her promises used to be. When I finished, I placed the pen down with finality. There, you're free to pursue your better life. Tears streamed down her face, but I couldn't tell if they came from regret or from losing convenience. Ethan, please what? I snapped quietly. Please fight for a marriage you already left? Please compete with a man who makes in a month what I barely earn in 6? I folded the papers neatly and held them out. Take these to your friend Bradley. I'm sure he'll know what to do. She didn't argue. That night, she packed 2 suitcases and left for her sister's place in Aurora. The Honda Civic stayed parked outside. Mine, technically, bought before the vows. I sat alone in the hollow quiet of our apartment, holding that lottery ticket, mourning a future that now only existed in my imagination. The next morning, Friday, August 12th, 2025, etched itself into my memory. I woke to an emptiness that felt vast. No clattering dishes, no sighs, no hurried makeup routines. Just silence. I made instant coffee, the last of the cheap kind, and sat at the same kitchen table where I'd signed away my marriage hours before. The lottery ticket lay there, slightly crumpled from my grip. My phone buzzed. A text from my boss. Henderson settlement fell through. Plaintiff backed out. See you Monday. Perfect. Even my best case had given up on me. I picked up the lottery ticket and carefully smoothed out the creases, staring at the numbers I'd memorized long ago. 07, 14, 21, 03, 42, Powerball 18. They weren't just random digits. They were fragments of a life I had built with Laura, milestones I once believed defined our journey together. They meant nothing to her now, but to me, they were the last remnants of a future I had never stopped believing in, on pure impulse, something I couldn't explain even to myself. I grabbed my keys and drove to the 7-Eleven on Fax Avenue, the same place I'd gone every Friday for 3 years. The familiar bell rang as I entered, and Miguel, the clerk, glanced up. The usual, he asked. Yeah. I replied, sliding $5 across the counter. Quick pick for tomorrow. But then I hesitated. Actually, no. Manual entry. I filled in the slips slowly, as if engraving history. 07, 14, 21, 03, 42, Powerball 18. He handed me the fresh ticket, and I folded it into my wallet, tucking it beside my empty credit cards and the last crumpled $23 I had to my name. Saturday arrived sooner than I expected. I spent the day cleaning the apartment, gathering the remnants of Lara's departure. Her grandmother's jewelry, books she once adored, and the ceramic mug I'd given her on our second anniversary that declared world's best wife. A bitter joke now. By 10:59 p.m., I sat alone on the couch, my couch now, with a half-warm beer, watching Channel 9 News. Tonight's jackpot is $87 million. The announcer said as the machine began to spin. First ball, 7, my breath caught, Lara's birthday. Second, 14, my birthday. Third, 21, our wedding day. Fourth, 3, my law school graduation. Fifth, 42, the day I learned I passed the bar. And the Powerball, 18, our apartment number. My hands trembled. The beer slipped from my grip and splashed on the carpet. But I didn't care. I stared at the ticket, then the screen, then back. Every number matched. I had just won $87 million. Silence filled the room as the news moved on to weather and traffic. While I sat frozen with a future I had never dared to imagine. $87 million. Enough to pay off every debt, buy Bradley's BMW 100 times over, build a life I dreamed of and never worry again. One day, I had become a millionaire one day after the woman, who called me dead weight, walked out. I started laughing, not out of joy but disbelief, the kind of laughter that erupts when fate is so twisted it borders on poetic cruelty. My phone buzzed on the counter. A text from Laura. I left my grandmother's ring in the jewelry box. Can I pick it up tomorrow? I looked at her message, then at the ticket. She wanted a ring worth maybe $200. I typed back, sure, I'll be here all day. I didn't tell her that by tomorrow I'd be worth $87 million. She had signed away every legal right to it. Exactly 24 hours too early. Sunday morning, I awoke and immediately reached for my wallet, checking the ticket again to make sure it wasn't a dream. It was real. All of it was real. My first call was to the Colorado Lottery. Though they were closed, their recorded message confirming the winning numbers. I was officially the sole winner of the largest jackpot in state history. The rest of the morning, I sat at my computer searching everything. Tax law, lump sum payouts, anonymity clauses, how to claim without ruining your life. As a lawyer, I knew one truth. This time, I would play every move with precision. The lump sum would be about $52 million after taxes. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel powerless. I felt ready. Still more money than I had ever imagined having, and yet I felt a calm I hadn't known in years. At exactly 2 p.m., Laura knocked on the door. "Hi," she said, her voice uncertain as I opened it. She looked different. Her hair perfectly styled, makeup carefully done, and she wore a dress I'd never seen before, something elegant and surely expensive, likely a gift from Bradley. "The ring is on the counter," I said, stepping aside. She walked past, carrying the faint scent of perfume that cost more than we once spent on groceries in a month. "How are you?" she asked awkwardly, picking up the velvet box that held her grandmother's ring. "I'm good," I replied truthfully. "Really good, actually." She glanced around. The apartment was spotless. Her remaining things packed in boxes by the door, books, photo albums, that ridiculous mug collection she started in college. "I packed the rest of your things," I said. "Thank you," she whispered. That was considerate. A thick silence settled between us. She looked like she was searching for the right words. "Ethan, I want you to know this wasn't easy for me. Leaving wasn't what I wanted. It was what I felt I had to do." "I understand," I said calmly. "Do you?" she asked, her eyes uncertain. "Because I worry you think I'm just some gold digger, Laura," I interrupted softly. "You don't owe me explanations. We want different things. It's better this way." She blinked, surprised by my composure. I think she expected anger, begging, anything but peace. "Are you going to be okay? Financially, I mean." The irony nearly made me laugh. "I'll be fine," I said. "Actually, I'll be better than fine." She frowned, confused. "I worry you won't be able to afford this place alone." "The lease is up in 2 months," I said. "I'm thinking of moving somewhere bigger." That much was true. In my mind, I was already browsing homes in Cherry Hills Village, the kind of neighborhood Bradley bragged about. My phone buzzed. A message from Jake, my law school friend. "Dude, someone in Denver just won the $87 million Powerball. Can you even imagine?" I glanced from the text to Laura, standing in my kitchen with her ring box. "I should go," she said. "Bradley's taking me to lunch at the Brown Palace." The Brown Palace. Sunday brunch there cost what we once spent on a week of groceries. "That sounds nice," I said. "Tell him I said congratulations on his new relationship." She froze. "Ethan, It's okay," I told her. "Really." She turned to leave, bewildered by my calm. "Oh, one more thing," I added. She turned back. "You should check last night's lottery numbers." just out of curiosity. Why? She asked. Those numbers I played every week. I said, the ones you said were a waste of money. I played them again yesterday. She stared at me. I saw realization dawn. Ethan, you didn't. I did. The color drained from her face. How much? 87 million. The jewelry box slipped from her hands, the ring skittering across the hardwood. She didn't pick it up. You're lying, she whispered. I pulled out my phone, showed her Jake's message, then opened the Colorado Lottery website. Her eyes darted from the screen to me, back to the screen. When? She breathed. Friday night, I said. About 20 minutes after you left for your sister's place. I watched her do the math. One day after she signed away every legal right. Oh my God, she said, sinking into a chair. Oh my God, Ethan, we can fix this. The papers aren't filed yet. We can... No, I said quietly. We can't. But this changes everything. This changes nothing, I said. You made your choice based on what you thought I was. The money doesn't change that. Please, she cried. I made a mistake. I was scared. You weren't scared of the future, I said. You were scared of being poor. Tears streamed down her face. I love you, Ethan. I shook my head. You love security. There's a difference. I walked to the door and opened it. I'll file the papers Monday. By Tuesday, you'll be free to pursue the better life you wanted. She stopped beside me, eyes red. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know, I said. So am I? After she left, I picked up the ring and set it on the counter. She might come back for it one day. It's been just over a month since I won. My life has transformed. I've begun opening my own law firm downtown. 15th floor, 3 blocks from Bradley's office. From my windows, I'll see the garage where he parks his BMW. I drive a Tesla now, not to impress anyone, simply because I can. Laura and Bradley are still together, though word is things aren't as stable as she hoped. His fortune is heavily leveraged, and the market hasn't been kind. She's tried contacting me twice. I haven't responded. Sometimes I think about that impulse ticket, how one day changed everything. If she'd waited one more day, or I had waited one less, life would be different. But timing doesn't care about intention. It only reveals truth. I built the life I planned, just with better funding. The firm is thriving. I bought a home in Highlands Ranch. I started a scholarship for first-generation law students. Laura got exactly what she asked for, freedom from financial burden. She just didn't get the upgrade she expected. I learned something priceless. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served at all. Sometimes it's simply living well while others watch, realizing too late what they let go. The universe has a sense of irony. And sometimes, if you're patient, it has a sense of justice too.